And we're back! As always, your faithful team is here. We have Isaiah, Tim, Mel, Bray, and today we are bringing you the tale that is Men in Black. For those of you that are just tuning in, we're the Back Issues team. We cover old comic book movies and compare them to what has happened now to see what mistakes were made and what good things were done, especially in this case. This movie is great!
Yeah, this movie's
So
pretty
good.
good. It's gonna be hard to tear this one apart.
I know,
I feel
right?
like the only way this movie could have been worse is if we watched the second one or the third one.
Ooh.
Because
Yeah.
this one.
But I really want to watch them now.
But the setup at the end of this movie doesn't lead into the sequel you want. It's like totally not.
Okay, so I would argue that this movie is fantastic because after
As a
this,
standalone.
go and watch the cartoon series.
Yes.
The cartoon
I've never
series
seen
is
the cartoon
fantastic.
series.
Oh my goodness. Please, let's hunt it down and watch it. If you want to watch
It's a good
sequel
series.
to this movie,
I think it's also
fantastic.
from Deke, who did like the real Ghostbusters,
Oh,
and it's
like
in the same
DIC?
tone. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's very good.
The
The movie's good.
I was waiting for something great
I know,
and
right?
shattering
I
Isaiah.
was just thinking, like, is there anything I didn't like? But
More worm
Do-
guys.
do we?
More
Yeah.
Worm Guys. Yep, they were
Yeah.
great.
But in the simplicity of it too, like keep in mind it, like you're coming from like a real world perspective going forward, like you're following
Yeah.
the Will Smith character.
Yeah.
So they don't throw too much at you, like it's not distracting you with
And like that's
everything in the frame, right?
Yeah,
one of the
I
things
agree.
that I kind of really enjoyed about it is like you do follow Will Smith and like he's like your audience surrogate character
Mhm.
where he's like, oh my god, this is all weird shit, and he does it in his Will Smithy way. But
But Will Smith is so weird that,
his-
that it's like
his charisma
he's
with
cut out for this.
Normalizes
Tommy Lee
it.
Jones.
Yeah.
It's the quippy nature. I think also because we get to see Tommy Lee at the start where he's a bit more quippy and everything, and then he loses his partner
Mhm.
and he starts to be thinking about
Yeah,
like
the retirement of his
it
own.
comes full circle and like it's a complete story. They're not trying to set up a franchise or anything
This is
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
It's a perfect
They're-
its own standalone
Exactly.
movie.
It's
Yeah.
like I love
Almost
the
perfect.
fact that Kay is training a replacement and everything. Then you look back at it and you're just like, fuck yes, of course he is.
Mhm.
Like it's
Yeah.
everything slots into place.
Because
Vincent D'Onofrio
he's
is
picking
incredible.
the next him
Yeah.
rather
Yes.
than picking his partner. He's
Right.
picking
Yes,
the next him.
exactly.
Funny.
Oh, we're going off on a tangent because it's
The movie's too good.
The movie's
There's
great.
not a lot to
It
tear
is so
apart.
great.
good.
it's
The
We
cinematography's awesome.
we don't have to hold up a
Yeah.
red flashy thing and be like, look into this. You actually watched a good movie, and choo, there we go.
Most
No,
of the
I can
jokes-
remember this one.
Yeah.
It's okay.
They
there
land.
Was, there was
The effects hold up.
There was some 97 CGI in the movie, but you forgive it.
But
But
that's
like
okay.
the bug guy at the end, like
Edgar.
I would
looked
argue
good.
he holds up really
Holds
well.
up
The facial
very
expression
well.
and everything that comes in with that. Anytime that D'Onofrio's like got his head back and then the claws come out,
Come
like
out.
that was great.
Ugh.
Like,
yeah,
and the practicality
That's
of
real.
using puppets and then like CGI over the top
and
of
his
that.
makeup
puppets.
work, like how he like degenerated throughout the movie. He was looking for a different body. That's why he ends up at the morgue. And
Yeah.
The physicality
Yeah,
too of the
D'Onofrio's
performance.
so good.
He looks like a man with like a giant bug inside of him, puppeting him as he walks. Like
He just looks so uncomfortable.
It's
all
otherworldly.
the time.
Yeah.
I compared it during the podcast to Halle Berry doing like her performance of like a cat inside a woman's body.
Yeah,
in
but
Cooking
a
Catwoman.
good version.
Hey,
of
no, she
that.
won the
No.
Razzie, man.
Like,
I don't
she
know, earned the Razzie.
She earned that Razzie.
Well, she owned it. I don't know. I just like I feel bad like pitting mentioning
that-
Catwoman and Men in
No,
Black
that was
in
like
the
my
same
one
sentence.
high
I just,
praise from that
like,
movie.
I don't know.
Halle
We
Berry's
really
performance.
didn't like that movie though.
Well,
Like,
It did make me
Will
seasick.
Smith was so Will Smithy in it that it's like it works when you throw that against Tommy Lee Jones and
Yeah.
you know what I loved
So
was
90s.
the moment in the interrogation room and Tommy Lee's just staring him straight down like, would you recognize it again? And he just holds it. And there's that moment of silence in between the two of them. And then he's like, okay, great. Yep, come with me. We're going to go for a ride. Like, they have these really impactful moments just
Mhm.
like scattered throughout the movie to really
Well,
draw you in.
They
who
follow
these
that
people
right
are.
up too with the
Yeah.
scene where they're sitting in the restaurant, right?
Oh,
And then he's laughing like he's like the tail end of his story, and Tommy Lee Jones is like hamming it up. And it's like that's the younger Will Smith character that he's now replacing, right? That we're only seeing again
Yeah.
kind of come out. Like they're their chemistry is awesome.
Their chemistry
Yeah.
is so it's
For playing non-characters with no fingerprints
no
and no
backstory.
defining characteristics, right? Like,
Very
It's-
little backstory.
So is there anything that jumps out to us before we rate this, like what we didn't like? I know we're really gushing on what we liked about this movie. Is there anything that stood out to anyone that you were like, ooh, God, that kind of didn't really work
nothing
for me?
glaring. I
mean,
like
like, there's-
begrudgingly acknowledge. Like,
there's,
it's
like-
mostly great.
There's like the moment I think that just in order to pick something that you're like, oh well, they could have done this a little differently. Like they do make the female character strong, and she has like that. Oh, it's that moment with Will Smith where she's like, yeah, any sexually whatever woman you men. But then
Yeah.
she just does kind of turn into a damsel in distress and doesn't really do. But then she shoots the bug. At
She
the
shoots
end.
the
I don't
bug at
know.
the end,
It's
though,
not.
so,
It's not even
like-
worth.
Their
That's
character was a bit of a conundrum.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she
But there
becomes
was
an agent at the
Yeah.
end of it. And I would argue that the reason she becomes a conundrum is because she has to forget the experience she just went through that made her the character that we all are waiting her
Mhm.
to become. So
Yeah.
And
it's
that's
like
tough for
delayed
her,
gratification, right?
And, okay, I'm gonna go back to track because it does pay off. Like
It pays off.
She's a strong character.
I would have punched up some of the dialogue, some of the jokes. We had some better,
More
funnier jokes. More jokes. Quippier, back and forth. But,
We had a
whatever.
bit more energy, I think,
Yeah.
in general.
Just, I would have made Agent K a little meaner, and I would have made Agent J, like, a little louder, dumber, something. I don't know. Just to make it a little more intolerable. But, I mean, the dynamic plays so well. Who am I to say, right? What could have been.
I feel like they could have maybe just done some more situational stuff and then
Yeah, too, right?
like
Made
the
me
moment
happy.
where the birth of the,
the squid?
Squid
The
baby.
That was a great scene.
so like maybe a little bit more of that. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that in this movie.
There is a lot of that.
And-
Some more like non-criminal alien crimes.
Yeah.
Might have been neat. Like you
Some,
go
some
like
more
there's a
run-of-the-mill
domestic,
people.
or maybe like there's a neighbor who wants to cut down like a alien bush that makes weird mushrooms
That's
that
not
does
really-
something weird and like
That's not really, but
that's more like the series, like the animated
Yeah,
series.
I think these guys only deal with a certain level of like alien life. So, but I agree. Like one of the big joys of this movie, I think, is the bugs. Like the
Mhm.
four bugs. When they're smoking and
Yeah.
drinking coffee and all
Mhm.
that kind of like aliens doing regular stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's
like
definitely
dealing with the civil fallout of
Yeah,
living
yeah.
with aliens
Yeah,
that
yeah,
most
yeah.
of humanity has no idea. They're gonna create some ripples.
Great. So more of what you did, we would.
Yeah.
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 More of the great
that.
stuff.
more of just
More of
this
that.
movie.
Yeah.
Make this
Um,
movie
yeah.
longer, back in time a little bit.
Okay.
Pack it a little more dense.
So our argument is we want more of what you did. So let's rate this. Does anybody want to go first? I think like there's a clear winner for our rating system in this, and that is gallons of alien goo.
Intergalactic alien. goo.
Intergalactic alien goo.
Intergalactic.
It's so
Planetary
like
intergalactic
man.
alien
There's a bit of a
The
a
Will
mouthful.
Smith
Gets on
spitting
your
for like
face.
5 minutes at the end of the movie.
the bug tentacles come out.
Like,
when you try
oh,
to say it.
God.
I can go first. I know what I'm
Sure.
gonna rate this movie. It's not a perfect movie, so I can't rate it perfectly, but I'm gonna give it 4 gallons of intergalactic alien goo. God,
Nice.
that's hard to say.
Wow.
It's solid,
Yeah.
solid. Watch it.
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, it's fun. It's a great movie.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah.
Amen.
I was thinking 4 or 4.5 even. You know what? I'm in a good mood. This I'm gonna give it a 0.5 for just like Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith, right? Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio, right?
Yeah.
Linda Fiorentino. I don't know. They all deserve a 0.5 in there, but I can only award 2 of the 4 of them because it's just how we place
It's
it.
not a perfect movie for you, Tim.
No.
That's fair enough.
It's
That's
so
okay.
close. It's so close.
So you're
There-
going
You
When I-
wanted to.
when I can write a funnier joke than you've done, then it's not perfect.
Oh,
So I'll give it a
So
4 and a
are you
half.
saying that you're not funny or you are funny?
Well, it depends.
jeez.
Depends how we're rating it.
Oh god, it's a greater argument.
Yeah.
Let's not get into
So
that.
I'm doing 4 gallons of intergalactic alien goo.
4.
Yeah, a
Nice.
solid 4.
That is
Nice.
solid.
I'm a 4.5 as well.
Wow.
Like,
Uh,
yeah, this is up there with The Rocketeer for me. I really enjoyed it, and
It is a
gonna
movie I
have-
would watch again.
Yeah.
I will watch
For
this for every time I watch like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is like a
And
perfect one. I'll watch
I would
this.
also
Like-
put this on in the background with no sound on. It
Oh, yeah.
also passes that test for me because it looks fun.
It looks
Alright,
fun. It's
alright.
visually dynamic. There are good set pieces.
Okay, let's not gush too much. We'll try and keep
World's
this succinct.
We're coming across a
More.
little
I
desperate
know,
guys.
I know. We like it
James
too
Bond
much.
secret
Stay-
lair.
stay tuned.
It's got
We'll-
everything.
We'll try and pitch. I don't know if we'll pitch. We might not. All right, pitching pitches. This is where we try and I don't know, like throw our ideas at
Try
the
and-
wall and
Yeah.
see what sticks.
Try and get that last star or the
Yeah.
last
Last
half
half a
a
star,
star.
Half a
yeah.
star. How would you get there?
I need a moment.
I have a couple of ideas.
Sick.
Then hopefully not too basic. So one idea is that
Intergalactic.
spend it, yes, intergalactically basic. Jay's character, spending more time with him at the beginning, not necessarily going into his background anymore, but more in the sense of him working as a police officer and having him kind of get in the way of what Kay's doing a little bit more. Like I feel like
I like that.
Like
You
more
can-
of the X-Files, like Fox Mulder on the one
Yeah,
side.
Start
before
doing
You've
a
got
little more
the two
combat.
departments.
I like
You've
that.
got them kind of button heads. Perhaps
that.
Kay wipes his memory a few times.
Like
but,
And
he's
then keep
annoyed
pressing
with him
parts.
now, but it's
Oh.
the first time they meet every time.
but
That's
That's
funny.
great.
But so like the whole thing, like I feel like it's deja vu, you know, like, and it's because they keep having this same moment every.
That'd be hilarious because Jay would keep having the moment, and you know that Kay is just gonna be like, God damn it, this guy every time.
Yeah.
And to take the scene a bunch of times would be so funny.
Oh,
So
then you could
funny.
have
You could do
the
a montage.
you could have the pug in at the newsstand in the background for that, and he just sees it happen.
Shaking his head.
That's great.
Yeah.
I agree
I
with
love
that.
that. I
That's,
love that idea.
that's one version. The
Uh,
other one is instead of Jay being a police officer, flip it and make him a conspiracy theorist, and he's actually trying to uncover this big conspiracy of MIB, but he doesn't realize that they're actually
Well,
trying to.
They've actually done that's Tessa Thompson's character in the new Men in Black movie.
Is it actually?
No way.
haven't
100%.
It's the lone gunman.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she
See, nothing's original these
her
days.
backstory is
That's
she
awesome,
sees
though.
her parents get mind wiped in the 90s, and then she spends the next, and they don't mind wipe her, and she spends like the next 20 years looking for the Men in Black.
So,
and she
so
finds
that's the
them.
Oh,
third
that's
movie.
cool.
So
That's
she becomes
awesome.
like a conspiracy theorist person.
Is
like-
that in the
yeah.
trailer? Why isn't
Is
that
that
in the trailer?
the second or the third?
This is the new one.
The
so
fourth
far.
one.
Oh, the fourth one.
So the one coming out this summer.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
So
Okay.
That's a
Well,
good
I'm pitching
idea.
the fourth.
well
movie.
done. You've written
Nice work.
you've written the
It's
fourth Men.
Spider-Man,
I need to get
the video
up to
game
date
all
on the
over again.
material.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great because you didn't know, but you're also pitching a giant Hollywood blockbuster.
Great.
Of course you are.
I'm in the
Yeah.
realm.
No, that works for me. And the
Whoopsies.
first one. Make him one.
I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, I got a pitch for you. Buckle up.
Oh, God.
So the galaxy that's on
No,
Orion's
seriously, buckle
belt,
up. This is gonna.
it should be a galaxy that was created by Franklin Richards, right? The son of Sue Storm and Reed Richards, right? The Invisible Woman and
I'll just
Mr.
jump in
Fantastic.
for just a second. Men in Black are owned by Marvel.
They are owned by
Continue.
Marvel. So they're set in the well, they're not set in the MCU, but they got to find a way of bringing the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and everybody in. And as I understand it, and I've been doing a lot of research on Marvel, so you step in and correct me, but Franklin
Okay.
Richards could be interpreted as like an alternative kind of reflection of Galactus, who's right, kind of like not an elemental, not a guy, but he's super, more than Omega level mutant powered, more than the Phoenix, kind of, and has reality altering powers.
That's more what it is. It's he has reality altering powers, same as Scarlet Witch, same
Same
as
as
Molecule
Scarlet
Man,
Witch, right.
and technically same as Sentry. Depends on which version of him you read about. but
Okay,
carry on.
so I would say that he created this Orion's belt, the galaxy that's on the cat in the movie, and that maybe some of the MCU characters are safe inside there. And I would set this up for like a 3 or 4 mission arc. And I would have Franklin Richards come back in time from the future before he was ever born and before we've even met Reed Richards and Sue Storm. And I would do a Back to the Future where he has to let his parents meet. so that he can be born, so that he can superpower and then harvest the energy from his younger self that he will then train to become a reflection of Galactus in order to eventually stop him. But he will like pave the way as kind of in the DC universe before there was the Crisis, right? They teased that, and they would like, right?
And the Men in Black.
And the Men in Black would be a part of it, right? Because you would work them into the MCU, and then you would have them investigating stuff, right? And there could be other.
There would no longer be Shield. Instead, it would be
and
run
if
by
Spider-Man exactly, but Shield could be a part of that. And then you would have, if Spider-Man Homecoming's trailer isn't lying to us, and Mysterio is Far From Home is from an alternate dimension, then this would be setting that up as the Men in Black could be policing the interdimensional gateways as well.
There's definitely potentials. For sure.
So that is my other pitch to take Men in Black as a sequel. Or you could just make Mel's movie, which you did.
Okay.
Oh man, so that's great, Tim. Those are great.
Because I don't have any idea, aside from maybe, like we said, punch up some of the jokes to how to make this specific movie better, I'm going to pitch the next movie. I'm going to pitch the sequel to Men in Black.
Nice. That's a good idea.
Basically, my sequel to Men in Black would have followed this movie. It would have had Jay and her
as
partners, and then you leave Kay out of it.
Bench him a movie.
Yeah, you bench him a movie.
Maybe you have one scene where they just drive by and he's like sitting in a parking lot.
Happily. With his
right, and he's like drinking coffee and they don't talk and it goes on.
You have that dynamic.
That'd be nice. He checks up on him.
That'd be nice.
And then Jay and whatever her letter ends up being, they do the whole thing, and there's like a female villain, if I remember correctly, in the second movie.
In the second movie.
Laura Flynn Boyle
I don't really
and
remember
Johnny
much about the
Knoxville.
second movie, so
That's
I'm not going to pitch that movie, but you bring her back, bring her character back, and then she kills Jay's partner, what's her name, at the end of the second one, and then...
No, halfway through, and then it reanimates her like a corpse.
No.
Like from the morgue?
But
she could like sit up in the morgue.
This is his pitch.
Kill her at the end. They kill her at the end. And then we'll have set up the time travel device that Jay uses in the third movie, and he tries to time travel back to save her, but he gets sent all the way back to the 60s, and that's where he meets young Kay. That's where Josh Brolin comes in. And then that story can essentially play out the same way. I would change some stuff about that movie too.
Nice.
But then...
They could call it Men in Black OK.
Or
OG.
Hey, that's his pitch.
And then you bring Jay back at the end of that movie, and he's not able to save his... Like, time travel's not an easy fix kind of lesson or whatever. And then you have like a final scene with old Tommy Lee in his retirement with his wife, and Jay like checks in on him, and then the movies are done.
That'd be a great
fun little trilogy.
Complete little arc for Jay's character as well, which would be really nice to see. And then you kind of would leave him in a point where we meet Kay at the start of
where he's kind of ready to hang up,
pass on the mantle and everything. That's great.
And you can make a fourth one, and then you bring in Tessa Thompson's character in the fourth one, and
conspiracy theory.
She's Jay's replacement, and he trains her, and then Will Smith bows out in the fourth one.
See, and then you pass the torch a little more smoothly.
Yeah, that's the way I would have made those movies. But I can't really make Men in Black itself better, because it does also the thing that I'm always saying. It's like it is a day in the life. It just happens to get bigger.
Right.
But it's just a day in their life. Like they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
What does Tommy Lee say, or what Kay says? Bit much for day 2 or something. Second day on the job or something like that. It's great.
Yeah.
It's such a well delivered line, and it really sums up like everything that's happened to them. But it's like, this is a regular week for us.
Yeah.
And those are the things we ask for in all these kinds of movies, and this one does it swimmingly.
It's you know what? It's really tough because I feel like you guys have really deep dove in Tim's case as well.
That's all he does.
Yeah,
Dive deep.
The only thing that I would do with this one is I remember seeing it as a kid, and I just wanted to see more of like the bug alien cockroach and more of the that kind of interaction rather than the human on human stuff. And it's like nitpicky. Like I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that. Maybe more of the Archelian ship up top rather than just seeing the outside, getting to see from the bridge or something like that.
Like if they had to go into it or something.
Yeah, but I mean, But then again, the mythos of what's happening with them by being so outside and then only catching a little glimpse, it really sparks the imagination. So it's difficult for me to say that, but I think I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that. But that's the only thing. Like that would kick it up another half star.
What if the sequel had to take them across the galaxy? Like they had to go on an intergalactic mission. Like they needed a couple humans to go to like Argelia or wherever.
I do like that it's. I mean, like. I like a lot of sci-fi that goes out into space, but Men in Black's more about keeping the Earth people from knowing that there's aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is not a perfect film because it's not. No film really is, but it's great. Men in Black is great.
It is. It's very enjoyable. I think
Ghostbusters
really
is a perfect film, and Men in Black is not Ghostbusters. It's
almost
0.5 maybe away from Ghostbusters. It's close.
Yeah.
But thank you for tuning in, friends and followers. We had a wonderful time watching Men in Black. You should watch it again too.
You should definitely.
Maybe pause at that one and
Stop after
check
one,
out the fourth one. It could be interesting.
Maybe.
Who
We haven't
knows?
seen the
third one's not terrible.
Yeah. Well,
It has moments.
yeah. But remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and stay tuned because we got more back issues coming up. Or do we? Was it all swamp gas and thermal pockets
And
and
the planet
Could you
Venus.
finish already? I have to keep flashing them.
It was all swamp gas.